Hi folks, just going to get started here. Had a pretty good day in the markets for Wednesday. I was wrong on a couple of things though for my analysis from Tuesday's London Open. One of them was the US dollar, I was incorrect, and the other one was the US CAD, I was incorrect. And I'll talk about both of those. Ultimately, so what I was thinking when I did the live event on Tuesday, that was this day right here. Price had obviously it wasn't up into here yet. Price was somewhere down right around here, about halfway up this candle. And at the time, I said I believe we're going to have an up week. We're going to finish off nice and strong. And I wanted to see price come down into here. It just basically Monday was the low and then expanded higher, which great. No issues there. But I was incorrect in thinking that we would have taken a little while to get up to here. I thought that we would have probably been maybe at the end of this week seen this happen, and really Tuesday expanded and came back down, retraced quite about 50% of the range, daily range, and then Wednesday's trading just exploded higher. So I was incorrect about it taking the high out this early on, but nonetheless, ultimate objective reached, and 97.65 on the upside was taken. And then the other thing I was incorrect about also was on US CAD. They had a Canadian dollar had a interest rate announcement on Wednesday, and I thought they were going to keep it in this range for Tuesday, and then Wednesday pop up and clear these highs here and potentially run those highs. And they actually did that on Tuesday, and then Wednesday's rate announcement was right there, very, very predictable. This was it right here. They were coming down and just came below these two lows right here. I didn't get a long off. I actually watched this, and I was distracted for about 5 minutes, and I was thinking, well, I want to see if price wants to come down and recapitalize right off of these this consolidation rate area right here. It got pretty close to that. It basically just came down a couple of pips below these lows here, and then the next I looked at it, which was literally, it was 5 minutes later, it was all the way up in here. It was 100 pips higher. So we all knew the direction, knew it was going to happen. You could have got long anywhere in here, and it would have been just fine, even if you got long on the top. So that consolidation, I mean, that's only a 20 pip drawdown for a 100 pip gain. Anyway, those were the two things I was wrong about. Was just the timing. So I was right in the direction, right on the targets. My target was up here, obviously. My next target is 135.65 to the upside here. Not too far away, actually, now only about 80 pips away. We could even hit that into this week. I have no idea. I'd like to see it come back down a little bit, if it can, off of the highs in here, and potentially rebalance off of here and then run higher. That'd be great. But anyway, we'll kind of backtrack a little bit here. Just talk about the U.S. dollar on the daily. So we have to go out quite a bit. We're now above this block of price action right in here. Let me go into a weekly, actually. That looks a little bit easier to see. And I think we have, you see this, we have a low of this old consolidation level right in here that comes into play at 98.35. You can see I've got it dog tagged right there. And I believe that's the objective. Whether we hit it this week or not, I don't necessarily know when that's going to happen, but that is the objective. And not too far away, we're 97.75 right now, give or take a bit. And so really that's only about 55, 60 pips away from current location. And as you can see, one weekly range was obviously all of that and more. So we can easily stretch up into here. We're sort of obviously over the hump of the week now, middle of the week, and so it's less likely that they're going to shoot it up into here towards the end of the week. If they want to get up there, they may look at doing that into next week. But that doesn't mean that there aren't still longs to be had for this week. I would like to see them cool off going into Thursday and then potentially Friday, maybe running at these highs again. But I would like to see them trade back down to this consolidation level in here, and then see if we can't get a bounce and a run higher. What I don't want to see is them come past this block of price action here and have to recapitalize off of this. I think they came down there. This was Monday. I'm sorry. This was Monday. Tuesday expanded off. Wednesday expanded off. So I don't think we need to come all the way back down to here, which means obviously we don't need to get under here. And I'd like to see them just keep this thing higher. This was that old daily high here that we were banging up against, this guy here, for quite some time. And it finally came and ripped through that and took it out. So I'd like to see price stay above this high here if we can. And worst case scenario comes down, touches off of these lows in here again, and then expands higher. But that's what I'd be looking at going into Thursday's Friday trading. And obviously, with that being said, we can start to pick out some pairs in the foreign exchange, foreign currency, other foreign currency pairs. So, Euro USD, we had again a nice slide on Euro USD, put in a great range today. I made a comment today on the chart chat room. It's nice to see them getting back to large ranges. You can see about an 85 pip range on the day for Euro USD. Very easy to spot. Here's the setup. Now, admittedly, I was looking. I actually had a limit order on at 112.30 was my original entry from going into London. London Open on Wednesday. And price just failed to get higher. To be honest with you, I had a limit order of 112.25, and I moved it up 5 pips. Don't ask me why I decided to, and I missed the overall. It just kept dropping, and it missed my overall entry. But I ended up getting along in 112.12 or 112.13, so it wasn't too far off. It was right up in here. As price was running in here, it started to drop in here and expanded up, and then it started to drop in here, and I got a brief retracement on these candles right here, and then finally price expanded to the downside. And my overall target was right here, 111.60 on the downside, and that was basically just a sweep of about 15 pips past this old daily low right here. You can see that low came in at 111.75, and again 15 pip sweep down to 111.60. Price ended up coming all the way down today to 111.40 was the low. Very, very common number for them to come in and hit a low on, and so that was very nice to see that come to fruition. So that would have been actually about a 35 pip sweep under that old daily low, which I wasn't banking on, but again I got the majority of this move today, which was very nice to see, and looking for more to come. So like I say, with that US dollar, this is that old daily low back here. I'd like to see them run it up here into Thursday and then fail, maybe mid to late New York open on Thursday, and then maybe continue lower on Friday. I don't want to see them keep jamming this down one more time. I'd like to see them retrace just a little bit, come back up, retag, and then go lower. Anything is possible, and again, it's not too far away. We're talking 111.55 to 111.75, maybe if it wants to come all the way back in here, 111.80. So it's not too serious. So watch this and see if what's to creep up in here. Now, pardon me, just yawned. Now, I don't want to see it get, again, same as the US dollar, I don't want to see it have to trade back up into this block of price action in here. So if we start to see price get back into here, that means that there's a good chance that we could potentially run back up above these highs. I don't think that's super likely to happen, but again, with the US dollar, we just took out a major high, so I mean, look what it did. As soon as it took out an old high, look at these old highs, took out an old high here and dropped down very aggressively. Just took out another high here, and what are we going to do? Are we going to drop down aggressively, or are we going to keep popping higher? The end of this week will tell, obviously. So if we start dropping, we can find targets to the downside quite easily. If we start running, obviously, we know what the next target is. So Again, same type of idea with foreign currency. Euro USD, just once again, I've mentioned this before, we've got our targets, and I thought I had this labeled on here. I've got our targets labeled down here at 110. We'll label it at 110.20. It's on here, it's 110.15, but for argument's sake, 110.20. So that's about 130 pips away from now, 135 pips away. So I'm hoping to see continuation to the downside. Really don't want to see this come all the way back up into here and start plugging back up into these levels at all. So that's what I definitely want them to not do. But if we do that, we do have our targets, which are right here. Okay. Pound dollar, same idea, came down and just beautifully tagged into that 128.85 level, which I believe, I missed it by 1 pip. So I had this level dog tagged on this chart for quite some time, talking about it for a while, and it came in today beautifully and hit right in there, 128.85. So that's just the tops of these hold highs in there. Cleaned up this area very nicely. And now I guess it remains to be seen if we're going to see a bounce in here, a measurable bounce, or if we're going to continue lower, or what's going to happen here. But so far it looks like there is the low late in the day trading on Wednesday, and so far it's starting to climb a little bit. If we start getting higher, then again, if we start crawling back into this level up into here, above the 129.30 level, there's a likelihood that we could see a bounce here, and they might try to run this higher. I don't know how likely that's going to be, but just keep that in mind. Wednesday we certainly could have hit a low, but I'd like to see it decline a little bit further and really potentially get down into here. But we'll see what happens again, depending on what the US dollar does, depending on what the cable does, and Euro GBP is another one. So if we see a big decline in Euro GBP and they start sweeping these lows here, that's going to add fuel to the fire for cable, and it's going to start pushing it higher. But if we see the reverse and we see another push higher on Euro GBP, that could give it the green light for this pair to fall, and they would probably consolidate with this pair. So just keep that in mind going into tomorrow's trading, Thursday's trading. US CAD, like I say, still looking for upside potential. I'd like to see them come down a little bit. They came down right in here. I missed my entry in here, actually. So I was watching this, waiting, and then towards the end of the day, they gave us this entry as well. Not a huge run higher. Again, I saw this and I didn't take advantage of it. About 45 pips higher. I want to see what happens when price gets up into here, if it wants to power through this level, or if we could get price to roll over a little bit further and maybe come back down and rebalance here or even here. And then I'd like to look for some longs. I don't think this is just them fluctuating the market and they're going to run this thing way lower. I think they're going to take this Canadian dollar higher. And it's trending quite nicely. As you can see, all the lows are being supported. Again, traded very, very nicely in here. I don't think they need to come back down to these old highs back down here. And so, like I say again, and they traded back down this little consolidation level right there, which gave us the entry. So really no reason for this to come lower. If it does come lower, much lower than where it's at now, like I say, like to see maybe if we can get back down under here. But if we start pushing higher than here, then I'll be getting along, and I'll be holding for the rest of that range up to, I don't have it marked on here. Oh, yes, I do. Up to 135.65. Again, I don't know that they're going to get that this week. It's not too far away. We could see another big push higher going into Thursday, but I'll be looking at this pair for sure. UJ, again, so it was sitting consolidating. Wednesday, finally, they had a rate announcement, popped it higher, and then we're trading right back into the middle of the range again here right now. So basically, if the US dollar continues to support higher, we should see this thing go higher as well. And they just came down here just as of late, only about 10, 15 pips ago, and created this low here. So I'd like to see them start running this higher to coincide with what the dollar's doing, and Thursday, Friday start trading up into this neck of the woods. So again, another one I'm going to keep my eye on. Hopefully we're starting to now going to see some movement and some trending, breaking out of these levels here that we've been in on the US dollar. And if that does happen, then we should see, you know, things like UJ and US CAD and Euro and cable, and maybe not cable, just because of Brexit, but all of those other pairs starting to move and trend very nicely. So that's what I'd be hoping for. Moving along, as you can see, Australian dollar had a huge down day as well. I wasn't watching this pair at all, and maybe some people were. Took out, no, I apologize, didn't. This low here is still intact at 7002. Low came in here at 7003, and the low today is 7003 again. So hasn't quite taken that low. I would expect them to probably shoot this thing down. If they don't do it on Thursday, I'd be surprised. But they may want to come rebalance a little bit higher and shoot it down. But I wouldn't be surprised if they start taking that low quite aggressively here very soon. So crude oil. This guy here, I've got a level up here I'm going to be watching. I want to see what happens. Kind of a do-nothing sort of day on crude oil. Just sort of came, you know, meandered down a couple of pennies in here for the majority of the day, with a real short-term rally just to take these old highs here, and then a very steep 1 bar sell-off, 1 hour bar sell-off right there, and then the price just has not done anything. Took out the old low from Tuesday's trading just briefly, and so far it's powering off of that. So we'll see what happens. I'm not going to get too aggressive again on crude oil. You know my reasons. I just kind of feel like it's due for a correction. The link won't open. That's weird. Okay, hang on. I'll post a new one. Sorry about that. Where was I? Yeah, so crude swept that low from Tuesday here. Now this is Monday's open, keep that in mind. So they really were in a hurry to get this thing somewhere and then put the high in on Tuesday. And so far we've had failure swings. So that's why I've got this level marked right here. If we fail to get higher than this guy here, which comes in at call it 66.10, you know, whatever. That's a nice round number. That's a pretty good level. One second, guys. Just having some technical difficulties here. If you can hear me or see me on this chat, let me know. Oh, okay, never mind. I guess it's working now. Anyways, whatever. What was I saying? Crude oil. So, like I say, that they got into a pretty big. Okay, great. Thank you. So crude oil had a nice big explosion higher on Monday, and then we sort of topped out on Tuesday. Like I say, Wednesday's failure swing in here to get higher than Tuesday, a little bit suspect, and it could be they just wanted to come back down and retake the lows from Tuesday, and they're going to springboard this higher. Very simply, though, if the 66.10 gets broken, then I would probably be looking for upside potential. But I'm going to be watching this level. I'm going to wait on crude oil. Just because this week, this isn't great trading. Like Monday was good. I got a nice long off on, on Sunday's candles. And actually I was long from last week. Got a nice trade up in here that I talked about. And so far the rest of the week has been pretty ugly trading. So I'm not super interested in it unless I see clear rejection at this level or we go through it. And then I'll be maybe looking for this high in here to get traded to. But like I say, keep in mind, folks, you know, we're starting to, in my opinion, reach sort of the upper limits of this run. without a correction, and really there has not been a correction since way back down here, and that was just a single one-day runner. Everything else has been leaving all the lows intact. So like I say again, you know, if you look at this, there's several levels where price could potentially stretch up into, and so you know, and we could even overtake this old high up here. There's certainly that level up there that we can watch for, but I think it would take quite a bit to get it up there personally. For crude oil, I don't think that's in the cards right off the hop, but I have been wrong before in the past, and so far until we break, I would say, this consolidation level, you know, I'm not going to be bearish, and even if I was bearish, it would be short-term bias on the downside to see if they want to recapitalize this area in here. And then I wouldn't be bearish any further underneath that. To be honest with you, I'd be bullish again. But you look at this, I mean, it's a long extended range. I mean, you know, you look at this range, and they could have a pretty deep retracement. And I also just want to bring this this to you as well. If you look at the downside, we're starting to come up to, like I say, that 72 and 79% retracement level. So, you know, there is a possibility that those two areas could come into play for crude oil. So, and 72 is like I say, one more pop up, and we're pretty much going to hit that. So, it also sort of really coincides back here with a very, very clear level back in this consolidation level. So I'll leave you guys to research that on your own. But I'm not super bullish on crude, like I say. But I want to see what this 66.10 level does. If it does want to rip higher, I might look at taking along up to the 66.80 level, you know, potentially, which could be a nice little pop up for a Thursday. So we'll see what they want to do anyway on crude oil. Dave had a nice trade on gold. I don't know if any of you caught that from his session this morning. He was looking at this price in here and talking about going long rate in here, and beautiful trade off of this. If you had got that, that would have been a nice 75 tick run on gold. So kudos to Dave. That was a nice trade that he had today. Hopefully some of you guys got that one, because it panned out very, very nicely. Now, whether it goes, I don't know where it's going to go from here. You'd have to consult with Dave again, back to his analysis, but some pretty clear levels on the upside up here potentially, and they're really supporting price on the downside, obviously. So price came slammed down in here, and since then we've failed to make lower lows. So as long as we don't make another lower low, I think Dave's analysis would probably be fairly spot on, that this thing's going to probably run higher, at least above these highs here. So we'll have to see how that happens. But don't know if you guys caught that or not. I just wanted to bring it up with you quickly. And silver, this is the same thing. Ran right back down to this consolidation area here, and so far Wednesday had a big rejection candle there. So see what they want to do. I'm not super bullish on silver, but if gold runs, silver tends to go with it. So copper still trapped in the sideways trend here. Not a lot going on with it. Just when I think we're at a great level where we can either you know, get in on an entry, it does something different, and price took out those highs perfectly and rejected, and then it just brought us right back down to this consolidation level right down here. So, and price has been sitting there. So I think if it loses this low right here, though, there is a good chance that they'll really want to get this down and bring it lower than this low here. That's an obvious stop run, turtle soup, whatever you want to call it. And price ran down. So if we do get this thing kind of coming up into here, and we lose this low, I don't think this low is going to hold up. I think they're going to keep running it down and potentially even get back down into here on copper. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But yeah, price had a nice run and topped out clearly. Towards the end of last week. That was last Wednesday, I believe. Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah. No, sorry. Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. That was Thursday's candle of last week. Ripped up through there. Ran those highs nicely. wicked up once and then twice actually, and then so they got it twice just for good measure. Now, one of two things is going to happen is, they ran it up here to run the stops, to take everyone who was short out of the market, and just to run it back down to stop out everyone who's going long, and then they did it again, because as you can see here, these stops down here just got ran as well on Monday. You can see that there. Those stops there got hit right there. So, I mean, they certainly could be running this. They're just taking everybody out of the market on both sides and then just for them to run this thing higher. So, like I say, I'll be watching this low here. If they don't lose that low, I'm going to stay bullish on this pair. But if we lose that, I'd be probably to the short-term bearish side on copper. That's about it. Cocoa's having a pretty significant couple of days down here, down week, so that's going to be kind of interesting. Right after they took out an old high right there, they came, consolidated, slammed into it, and now they're finally starting to push this thing lower. So quite interesting there. Coffee, more downside, I would imagine, on coffee. Not much going on there with cotton. Orange juice is just getting pummeled. Man, this thing just wants to keep going down. I'll pull up some, I haven't pulled up a chart on orange juice or anything for a little while, so I'll do that on my next session for next week. I'll have a little bit more in-depth look on some of the commodities. Sugar's consolidating, pound yen, don't have to worry about any of that. So anyway, if you guys have any questions, shoot them up in the chats. Otherwise, you got my ideas and my thoughts on the day going into Thursday and Friday. Dave will be back Friday morning. I'll do another pre-recorded video for you guys on Sunday, and I'll be back again live next week. So I'm looking forward to trading, and hopefully, like I say, we're starting to finally break some new barrier here and get into some new ground and getting out of this consolidation level here, especially this stuff here. This was brutal. That's nice to see, and they only did it in 2 days. They really got up there very, very quickly. So hopefully they don't pull this thing back down into this consolidation range. I'd like to see, like I say, this level here or this level here provide some support to the upside, and we'll just have to wait and see. So I hope you guys have a great trading week the rest of the week, and if I see anything on the charts of significance, or if I see an obvious level getting hit, or some targets, or like I say, U.S. CAD, doing its thing, or oil, like I say, if it comes up in here, I'll try to post a chart and just sort of remind you guys what I'm looking at, and hopefully it'll come to fruition. So, and if you made money this week, stop trading. Wait until next week. If you made some good money, then there's no sense in having to go in every single day and push it. So, anyway, with that, hope you guys have a good trading rest of the week, and we'll catch up to you guys a little later. Thanks very much for watching. Talk to you then.